Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Good afternoon, Jeffery Combs. Good to be here with you on 2-4 Tuesday. Breathe, release, and let go. I'm going to go ahead and let the Facebook Live populate. Then I will move into the inspirational portion of today's Facebook Live. As always, it is a privilege and pleasure to be here with you on 2-4 Tuesday. I'm just attempting to dial in my content here. And Tomas, good to see you this afternoon. Looking for some rock star participants this afternoon on a beautiful 2-4 Tuesday. So there is snow on the roof, silver hair, fire in the furnace. Good to see you this afternoon, Jared. Good to see all of you here on 2-4 Tuesday on a breathe, release, and let go day. Danielle, good to see you. Good to see all of you on a breathe, release, and let go 2-4 Tuesday. Topic for today's Facebook Live is mastering attraction. I am a world-renowned expert on this. Zarek, good to see you this afternoon. And Zarek capitalized, let's go Jeff, let's go Zarek. So Joshua Feliciano, I'm flexing with you, baby. I'm flexing right there. So Josh Waxman. Josh, some great pictures of us today from 2016 on Facebook Memories. There's pictures of you, me, John Waxman, and some of the other fellas from back in the day. For those of you who come to Millionaire Blueprint, I'm going to do a slideshow of all the pictures of Josh and I that I have collected over an 11-year period. Josh Waxman hired me to be his coach in March of 2014 in Newark, Delaware, not to be confused with Newark, New Jersey. That is Newark, Delaware. Chloe Manny and Meryl Yeeses were the host of that event, and Josh Waxman was one of 5 young men under 22 years old that hired me to be their coach on that historic day. And so this is attraction. So this is how this all operates. So had Josh Waxman not hired me to be his coach in March of 2014, those of you who are in his team wouldn't be on this call. That is called 6 degrees of separation. Those of you who are my coaching clients, Jose Andres, good to see you, my brother. Jose, love you, my brother. Jose referred me to Kenny Foster. That's once again through 6 degrees of separation. There's 5 plus 1, 6 degrees of separation. Anytime you refer someone to someone else or someone refers them to you, that's a degree of separation. So that's the generations. So in the generation of how you came to be through however you meet someone, Wayne Clark is on today's Facebook Live. Wayne Clark is also directly related to Josh Waxman through Ilan Amir, and Ilan Amir was in a company with Josh Waxman. They knew each other in a Young People Revolution business back in the day, and Wayne was in that culture. Wayne was in his early 30s, and he came to one of my events in Boston, Massachusetts, and then Wayne and Josh, Wayne is on the call today in Nashville, Tennessee. Wayne and Josh were at the last event that I spoke, the last generic event that I ever spoke in my life. Wayne and Josh were at that event in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Josh was the host. Now, once again, Wayne's in Nashville, Josh is in Miami, I'm in Stockton, California, and we're all connected by this one woman named Meryl Yeeses. Meryl Yeeses was connected by a woman named Alexis Romano. Alexis Romano was a millionaire client of mine, $1 million a year client of mine. I coached her when she was making, for those of you who are brand new, Alexis Romano was making $1,000 a month when I started coaching her in June of 2011. By 2014, she was making 7 figures in a calendar year. And in her database was a mortgage broker. His last name was Yeeses, Y-E-C-E-S. His daughter hired me to be her coach. And she invited Josh to an event in Newark, Delaware. And then Wayne met me through another contact in there, and both of them are on this Facebook Live today. Now this is called 6 degrees of separation. So I could take a room of 15,000 people and I could break it down to how I ended up in that room, who the key component was in that room. I once coached a woman named Susan Sly, and she was introduced to me by another woman named Deborah. And Deborah dropped out of my life, but Susan Sly was one of the most significant women in the entire history of my career. and she gave me the keys to the kingdom to a $1 billion network marketing company that I did over $20,000 worth of business at least, or whatever it was a lot. And that was through a degree of separation. And for those of you who are new, you're young, or you're new to free enterprise, and those of you who are relatively young in free enterprise, what you want to begin to understand is that attraction is a skill and it's a mastery. And you will have challenge attracting people when you have brain fog. So if you have brain fog, you're going to have challenges attracting anyone that's in the quantum field because you're out of it. If you're medicated, it's going to be your responsibility to free yourself of medication. If you're a drug addict, alcoholic, it's going to be your responsibility to be clean and sober, because any type of mood-altering situation hinders your ability to open your pineal gland. The pineal gland is your ocular gland that opens you to the quantum field. Inside the quantum field is called the Akashic Records, a record of every event in mankind that has ever happened. And so in this content is the context. So content is the information, context is the application. So perfect example, Wayne knew me in 2013, hires me in 2020, rehires me this year. I have major breakthroughs with Wayne. Just in the last 2 months, he's having quantum leaps. But Wayne and I have an 11-year history, and he's introduced to me through Ilan Amir. Ilan Amir is introduced to me through Meryl Yeeses. Meryl Yeeses is introduced to me through her father through Alexis Romano through Susan Sly through Deborah K, K-A-Y-E. Deborah K found me on 1999 when she was in a direct sales company, USANA Health Sciences out of Utah. Joy Mary is on today's Facebook Live. She's a direct reflection. She was introduced to me indirectly through Susan Sly. Once again, Susan Sly through Deborah K. This is how it all operates. Her daughter, Sophia Jade, is on today's call. Same situation, 6 degrees of separation. So it goes once again, Joy, Sophia, Susan Sly, Deborah K. And Deborah K found me through my Tuesday night live conference calls. So when you are an attractor, when you're attractive, energy is attractive, people begin to magnetize to you, and you begin to magnetize people to you also. So it works in 2 different situations. So your magnetization also operates in anxiety, fear, and doubt. So if you have narcissistic parents, if you're an adult child of alcoholics, if you're an adult child of narcissistic parents, and you don't understand any of this content, and you don't understand the context, so if you don't understand this, then you will keep recreating the same situation to fulfill the same set of feelings. Jared Andre, so I'll break down how Jared Andre is connected to me on today's Facebook Live. So Jared Andre was in Miami with Josh Waxman, and I'm the one who introduced Jared to Josh Waxman 3 summers ago, right here in Stockton, California. But Jared was introduced to me by his brother Ryan. Ryan was in a direct sales business called Nouveau Riche back in 2008, 9, and 10. He was connected to a $1 million client of mine, Chad Wade. He's a franchise client. When you're in business, you look for franchise clients. These are people that have the key to the kingdom. And the key to the kingdom means they open their database to you, and you're able to write business through their database. And it's a win-win situation, provided you do not sabotage the relationship or they do not sabotage the relationship. And sometimes that happens. So Jared's brother Ryan was in this organization called Nouveau Riche, which is now called Renatus. And so he was introduced to me directly from his brother on a phone call. And so this goes all the way back to Chad Wade, but Chad Wade was not the 6 degrees of separation. The 6 degrees of separation was Bob Snyder, who was introduced to me by Jim Piccolo. Jim Piccolo and I were 7-figure income earners in a direct sales business in 1996, 97, and 8. And so this is the thread of attraction. This is how attraction operates. Attract your reality, quality people who you can magnetize with. And so it's so good to see many of you here on today's Facebook Live with me. Christine Tuck, good to see you this afternoon, Christine. Christine, go ahead and post your website. Christine is a fabulous brander, and she creates top tier facial products and you want to see the products, I met Christine through a website recently. Christine and I are starting to collaborate. 6 degrees of separation. We are beginning to create a relationship. Relatability. That's what attraction is. And for those of you who are real estate agents, go ahead and post your website here. So be welcome. So through my database, I open the keys to my kingdom because my database is filled with love, with joy, with naturopathic healers, quantum healers, money experts, people of influence and affluence, and we share the wealth. We are here to promote prosperity. We are patriots. We are Christians. We are children of God. We have Christ consciousness. We are bringing. Okay, so look at Christine. Christine just posted. Joy, reach out to Christine. Christine, reach out to Joy. Become friends through 6 degrees of separation. I am the first degree. So if I introduce Christine to Joy, that's the 2nd degree of separation. So so attraction is generational. You create generations of attraction. Joy introduced me to her daughter, Sophia, not recently. Sophia started coming to my events 10 years ago with her sister. Sophia used to listen to my content over on the side of the room. She's supposed to be studying, but she's listening to my content. So attractor factor means you have the juice. You have the edge. You have the slight edge. It means you have the it factor. You're an outlier. You're a black sheep. You do not belong. You're a sovereign citizen. You can stand alone in integrity. You operate in high integrity. You operate in sobriety. You operate in consciousness. You teach recovery skills. You are practicing the skills of letting go. The reason that letting go is such a valuable asset is because letting go opens the portal in the universe to allow. And so in allow space, that creates a vacuum. So what you're taking out, what you're letting go, creates space. And as you raise your level of consciousness, you're now creating space for people to come into the portal of it. They come into that energetic portal of love, joy, bliss, enlightenment. They come into the portal of knowing, understanding, being aware. They come into the portal of truth. And so this is how you attract your reality, people and situations who believe what you believe. Now you learn from 2 ways. You learn from your mentors and you learn from your mistakes. That's a quote from my good friend Pat Mesiti, the #1 inspirational speaker in Australia. I met Pat Mesiti in Perth, Australia. I was speaking for 500 people. Perth is one of those beautiful cities in the world on the Indian Ocean. So Pat and I are speaking at an event. I introduce myself to him. I buy a book from him. I buy 1 book from Pat. Instead of me buying it, he gives it to me. 2 years later, he buys 1,000 books from me. This is a trip. I bought 1 book from him. He gave me 5. Good trade-off. And then 2 years later, because of my friendship with him, he bought 1,000 of my books, The Procrastination Cure. He spoke in America for me 3 times. He shared the stage with Jim Rohn in 2008. That was one of his dreams. I fulfilled it. And he has the quote, you learn from 2 situations, your mistakes and your mentors. Understand this, attraction is a skill. I attract to my reality quality, like-minded success seekers that I, then fill in the blank, collaborate with, create ambassadorship with. I attract to my reality quality, like-minded success seekers who are teammates, soulmates, people who I'm in free enterprise with, people I can share the love with. You fill in the blank. That is called affirm. To affirm is an affirmation. You use affirmations to do an altar call. You are calling to your reality people and situations to join your tribe, to join your team, to be your customer, to be your friend, to be your associate, to be your soulmate, to be your teammate, to be a vendor, to be a contractor. If you're going to own a business, you require multiple skills, multiple people in your circle of influence. I just assisted someone to lift a lien off of a house. I mean, I went beyond the call of duty and assisted this client of mine to lift this lien, and I did it through a banker that I know and through a real estate professional, and I knew how to create the juice. And so I ended up talking to their attorneys. I did this all for free because that's what you do in free enterprise. So I did it for free, navigated it, was able to assist her to lift a $44,000 lien, and so she can sell her house free and clear. And she would have lost the asset on a sheriff's sale. Once again, this is what happens when you understand the skills. But attraction is a detail. What many people let fall through the cracks are the details. If you are not a detail person, you will not make it. Because you cannot possibly be a 7-figure income earner in free enterprise without having a system, without having a routine, without having attorneys, without having accountants, without having vendors, contractors, lead generators. This is what Josh Waxman has. He has all of this. And I mean, I've been teaching him for years, but he's his own sovereign man. He's learning on his own. And he started owning his own business when he was 21 years old, as I did. I've been a millionaire 3 different ways, 3 different business ventures. So you want to be able to say that this is your first business venture. So this is your first enterprise, that you become a self-made millionaire in free enterprise. And so you want to be a free enterprise, that's your business, my enterprise. And you will attract to your reality people and situations to fulfill your feelings. And so this is why, if you don't understand why you do what you do, you'll keep recreating what is called a payoff. The payoff is recreate a situation to fulfill a feeling. I have another client right now who's having a quantum leap in her business, and I introduced the top person in her business to her through a referral. And she has referred me well over 100 people. So I referred her one person who took her to multiple 6 figures. She referred me multiple people who I achieved 6 figures with. I mean, this is the trade-off in free enterprise. This is called referral based. So as you become an ambassador of free enterprise, as you become a man of a woman of goodwill, as you continually offer people a hand up, you don't offer them a hand out, you offer people a hand up. So you're not Mother Teresa, you're not the Red Cross, you're not the Salvation Army, you're in business for profit, you have a for-profit enterprise from the comfort of your home. You can definitely afford to give people a hand out a few times and a hand up all the time. But in free enterprise, you have to understand, to create what the free market will bear, it requires skills. And it requires the skill to attract. You're going to require lead vendors, an attorney, an accountant. These are people that you're handing the keys of the kingdom to. I mean, these people, you have to have skill at attracting them. I had an accountant who I followed his wisdom, and the IRS ended up at my door. I was also considered well, you can figure that out, a tax protester back in the day. And I've been through all this before. I mean, I've been through so much in free enterprise. I've been an entrepreneur for 37 years. I've owned Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated, a California S corporation, for 27 years. That corporation has created over 7 figures 24 times and over 900,000 3 other times. So it's been a 7-figure business from day one. And that you also have to have a 7-figure mindset, a 7-figure emotional mindset. So if you want to be a millionaire, you have to have the habits of the millionaire next door. If you're going to be a millionaire, it means you're going to be in the law of the few. You will be 1/20th of 1% of the population. That means you acknowledge immediately, I am good enough. No matter what the circumstances, no matter what the situation, no matter how destitute or desperate you are, I can relate to you. At 31 years old, I was experiencing delirium tremens, which means I was convulsing from acute alcoholism. I weighed 114 pounds. I hadn't eaten in almost a year. I had yellow skin, black skin. It came all the way down here. I was days away from death. That scar right there is a souvenir. Scars are souvenirs you never lose. The past is never far. That scar is a souvenir of a very weak attempted suicide attempt that I was only seeking attention. And I ended up in a heroin alcohol clinic in Ceres, California on December 17th, 1988. That was the last day I drank. I had spent 1 year in prison as a drug addict, drug dealer. I had been near homelessness. I had lived on couches for a number of months. I was carless at times. I was down to a duffel bag full of clothes at one time, and I lived with my parents for 9 months at 31 years old. I mean, I've seen the abyss. I've been to rock bottom. I understand it. But if you have the fiber, if you have the edge, you will learn to bend, but you will never break. And you will never get a job. If you have this fiber in you, you will never sell out. Because if you have this edge, if you know you're the black sheep, and you know you are chosen, It doesn't matter what you're going through. What matters is that you focus on the solution. If you live in the problem and focus on the problem and continue to eviscerate and continue to edify the problem, you cannot possibly live in the solution. So no matter how much debt you have, pay it off. Figure it out. Do it one day at a time. Understand velocity banking. So the way you free yourself from debt, debt free is not, you free yourself from debt by velocity banking, by understanding infinite banking, by having tools and vehicles that allow you to create wealth. If you do not, you will continue to just tiptoe quietly through life and arrive at your grave safely. My relatives and people in my circle of influence called me a guru. They told me to grow up. They told me to get real. They told me to stop chasing rainbows. They called me every freaking name you can imagine. These are called dream stealers, spiritual vampires, emotional vampires, people who don't have the courage to do what you do. Give yourself a high five. Give yourself a high five. Give yourself a hug because you deserve it. If you're in an office with people, go up to them after this Facebook Live and hug them. Not this fake ass hug, not this candy ass hug, but a real hug where you lean into someone, you wrap your arms around them, and you give them a real hug from joy, from love, from bliss. Not the fake hug that your parents and grandparents taught you, but a real love of consciousness. And then that love, when you share that love, it has a form. And once you share that love with someone, it becomes a thought form. Now you have sent that into the universe, and that love that you just transmuted is called an electromagnetic signature. That signature of love that you've just sent to the universe, someone will find you. This happens to me all the time. And you have to also finish every day. I had a day last week where I had no business, but I wasn't finished with the day. I did another good deed for someone last week. And good deeds, when you do good deeds for people with no expectation, it's amazing how the universe rewards you for a good deed with no expectation. I did a good deed for someone last week. I went out in the neighborhood. I saw another guy I hadn't seen for multiple years. He gets out of his truck. I'm hugging him. He's crying. He's telling me just his like a week of sobriety. He goes, "Oh my God, dude, I've known you since 1988. How do you do it?" And I promised I'd take him to dinner, which I will. Never a promise made is dead on paid. So you follow through on your commitments. You follow through on your promises, and then. Right after that, 2 people hired me, and I had no business that day. And it didn't come out of the blue. There's no such thing as out of the blue. It came from consciousness. It came from attraction. And this is how the universe will reward you for being a student. This is how the universe will reward you for paying your dues. The universe will reward you because the universe acknowledges it's not what you want. The universe gives you who you are. So if you're not in the flow, if you're not in the game, if you're not feeling the feel, but what you're doing is keep recreating the payoff, and then you're disappointed and frustrated, the universe will reward you for that. You will stay addicted to disappointment. It's called a payoff. When you let go, when you step into your power, when you stop worrying about who's not giving you the love, who's not giving you the money, when you let go of your poverty consciousness, your lack mentality, when you let go of your scarcity consciousness, then money will begin to show up. It'll show up in multiple ways. But you see, I've experienced it. I have been bestowed I have been chosen for it. I mean, so have you. But that's your altar call. Today is your altar call. Step up into your power. Be that man or woman you're capable of. If you're stuck in a traumatic relationship, end it. If your job sucks, quit. If you're in debt, create the solution. If you're procrastinating, produce. I mean, do the duality of it. Step into your power rather than staying in your force. Breathe, release, and let go. If you're on this Facebook Live this afternoon, I'm coaching 14 hours today. But if you're on this Facebook Live today and you want to speak to me about one-on-one coaching, if you're a former client, if you're a new listener watcher and you want to find out about my one-on-one coaching services, go up to Facebook Messenger, send me a Facebook message. My cell phone is 209-649-1562, 209-649-1562. And if you send me a direct message, I will get back to you. Breathe, release, and let go on a 2-4 Tuesday. Thank you all for being here, and it's my honor to be here with you. Breathe, release, and let go. Have a good afternoon.